And we begin with an update on the conviction of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdulrasheed Bawa, on a contempt charge. In a swift reaction, the commission has faulted the conviction and jailing of its chairman, insisting he did not disobey any court order as ruled. In a statement by its spokesperson, Wilson Owujare, the commission described Mr. Bawa as an advocate of the rule of law and due process who would not disobey any legitimate court order. It said the ruling created a wrong impression of the person of the EFCC chairman as encouraging impunity. This reaction is coming after Justice Chizoba Oji on Tuesday held that the chairman of the anti-graft agency is in contempt of the order of the court made on November 21st, 2018, directing the commission to return to an applicant his Range Rover and the sum of 40 million naira. Justice Oji also ordered that Mr. Bawa be committed to prison at Kuje Correctional Center, Abuja, for his disobedience and continued disobedience of the said order until he purges himself of the contempt. Now, for more on this, lawyer Jide Ologun joins me on the news, and he joins me in our studio. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
So this particular report, got everyone talking yesterday. It's been trending on social media. It's been part of the major conversation. But the EFCC has released a statement. Now, first of all, and I know you followed, this is basically on contempt of court. There was a ruling which the judge has said wasn't obeyed by EFCC. But the EFCC did release a statement saying that particular order was given as at a time when Bawa was not the chairman of the EFCC. And that when he became the EFCC chairman in May this year, and by June he had given back the applicant the Range Rover. I think they are in the process of giving him back the 40 million naira. Explain how that works. Is the ruling on the person who is the chairman or who is or just the EFCC? Explain to us how this works.
Interestingly, Bawa is the human representative, so to say, in terms of leadership of EFCC. So if that order is given against EFCC, he's the one to answer for it. And what is being done now is to let the world know that it's not as if he personally committed that contempt against the court. Though that is also subject to argument, if he has been informed about that pending action that EFCC should take and he has refused to take it by extension. So what can be done now, even though EFCC claims that it will be appealing that decision order of the court now, is to ensure that you release the money to the owner of the money. Because I read a report that the Range Rover has been returned to him and that the release of the money is being processed. Because what the court is saying is that we gave an order, and under the doctrine of the rule of law prevailing, no one is above the law. So you are expected to obey that order. And you can imagine that that order was given as far back as 2018. So this is a way of holding, whether it's an MDA or whether it's an individual, accountable to the rule of the law. So I quite agree with Wilson that we need to clarify the impression that Bawa has committed, contempt. No. It's in his institutional capacity as the chairman of EFCC. So what he needs to do now is ensure that the needful is done. And another option open to EFCC was to have appealed the decision of 2018. And if you did not, then go ahead and obey the order. And so right now, if the money is released to the owner quickly, then you can go back to court and say, okay, we have respected the court. Because when you talk about contempt, it's a disregard to a constituted authority. And don't forget that we have three arms of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And they are all expected to work together symbiotically, but we also have checks and balances. And that is the case we have on our hands now. So, and he assumed office earlier this year. But the action that led to the order to release the Range Rover and the 40 million naira did not happen, in his own tenure. It happened before him. It's just that the person that was there then refused to carry out the instruction of the court. And from the report I read, I hope it's not denied. It has been partly complied with. So it's the other one now of releasing the money. And if the money is with anybody, go and get it naturally and in the course of the justice ecosystem. That money should be kept somewhere in custody, and should be accessible. So if these procedures you claim are delaying you are external, then you have a good reason, but it's within your system. So it's a matter of calling for the file and release the money.
Let me ask you, because again, there are those who wonder, most times when the court says this is the order, pay so and so person this amount in terms of, we are awarding so and so amount to this person. And most times people don't get that they don't get that amount awarded to them. And this took about 2 years for this person to get some, I will call it justice. The court doesn't have, there is no sort of mechanism available to the court to say, let's enforce an order. Is there a mechanism available to the court?
That's the mechanism we are discussing now. Because, you see, the honorable justices sit over many cases. So they may not even know whether the order has been obeyed or not, because it's the business of the legal practitioner to go and ensure that. And where you think there is disobedience, you go back to the court that, your lordship, you gave an order, it has not been respected. Please, let's proceed on contempt. Contempt is saying the court is not happy with you for not obeying an order, because under the doctrine of the rule of law, nobody is above the law. So, and this is one of the acid cases that will help us on the basis of accountability. We should all be subject to the rule of the law. That is how we can have a society where justice prevails. So what is expected now on this order is for the Inspector General of Police to carry out the instruction, get Bawa, unless they knock off the order of the justice. But I know that everything will be sorted out. It's either that money is quickly processed, released to the owner, and you let the court know we have obeyed you, sir. The court is not out to intimidate anybody, but just to create room for the rule of law.
That was the mechanism. I wish we could talk about that. That was the mechanism that I was talking about. Whether the Inspector General then decides to say, let me arrest him and then take him to jail. That was the mechanism of enforcement.
And the moment the judge gives the order, that should be expected. But you know also that some excuses should be given.
I'm told that we do have to go. I wish we could talk about, because it's really important to talk about that. Thank you so much for joining us, Lawyer Jide Ologun.
You're welcome. God bless Nigeria.